Good afternoon, everybody, as here's the first pitch of today's baseball game between Paramus Catholic and Fort Lee. It's going to be a ground ball to short, one pitch and one away to get us started here this afternoon. Dan Long, Dimitri Nanis, Maria Giannatasio, glad that you could join us for Fort Lee Baseball here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. Paramus Catholic 4-8 on the season, taking on the Bridgemen of Fort Lee 5-7-1. So the first hitter was Damon Lopez, and Lopez grounded out to short as Herrera had the good handle there, as Katayama missing on that one inside. Keizo Katayama getting the baseball from head coach Peter Kraljek here on the mound today for Fort Lee, trying to knock off the Paladins of Paramus Catholic. That pitch missing to the outside, now 2-0 the count, as this second place hitter in the lineup is going to be number 20, Mike Konopka. Konopka will fly that one deep to center field, as that's going to fall in between the center fielder and the left fielder. And Konopka will rumble his way into second base with a one-out double here at the top of a scoreless first inning. So that one just kept on carrying, and Lee could not settle underneath it as he makes the move over near his left fielder Nakajima. They throw it back in, and Konopka has the first hit of the day off of Katayama as he gets the double. That'll bring up the third place hitter, number 16, Brian Duarte, the senior. Duarte hitting from the right side. Paramus Catholic in their gold uniforms with black numerals. In the home whites, Fort Lee with the black numerals outlined in orange. Katayama with one out already secured in the inning. Missing off the plate that time to the outside against Brian Duarte, the senior. Paramus Catholic trying to grab an early lead here, as that's foul tipped. In and out of the catcher's mitt. The Fort Lee defense, Nakajima in left, Lee in center, Rosario in right. Brito at third, Herrera, who made the first out at short, Greenberg at second, Rosa at first, and Her doing the catching. That one is popped skyward into the top of the cage, so it's going to be a harmless foul ball. 2 strikes now against Duarte. Here's the pitch. That's going to be a rocket shot on a base hit. A line drive base hit to shallow center field. That's going to bring runners at the corners with one out here for Paramus Catholic, trying to strike early in the top of the first inning. Back-to-back hits by Konopka and Duarte. That'll bring up the cleanup hitter, the senior, number 26, Ryan Chericella. Breaking pitch, low in the dirt, 1-0 against Chericella. Ground ball could be a double play ball. On to second for one, on to first. Not in time, as that will be ruled to be safe, just legging it out, and because it's not in time, that will allow the runner to score from third base. So Fort Lee got the ground ball they were looking for, made the quick turn at second, but again could not complete it as Chericella was hustling all the way down the first base line. That will drive in the first run of the game, and it's 1-0 Paramus Catholic here in the top of the first inning. Quick ground ball, knocked down to Brito, bobbled it a bit, but does get it over in time. Good snatch by Rosa down at first base to end the inning. after Jordan Ortiz was retired on the ground ball out. But Paramus Catholic with a couple of base hits, including a double by Konopka. He eventually comes around to score on the ground ball out by Chericella. We head to the bottom of the first inning. 1-0 Paramus Catholic on top of Fort Lee here on the Fort Lee Athletics YouTube channel. We head now to the bottom of the first inning. Paramus Catholic on top of Fort Lee by a score of 1-0. Now let's meet the Bridgman starting lineup today. Leading off and playing at short is Felix Herrera. Hitting second and doing the pitching is Keizio Katayama. Hitting third and playing at first base is Joseph Rosa. Hitting fourth and playing in right field is Franco Rosario. Hitting fifth and being the DH is Ryan Irizarry. Hitting sixth and playing third base is Brandon Brito. Hitting seventh and playing in left field is Louis Nakajima. Hitting eighth and playing at second is Max Greenberg. And hitting ninth and in center field is Marcus Lee. As they will be trying their luck against Mike Konopka. Konopka, the man who in the top of the first inning recorded the first hit of the day with that double to left center field. He came around to score eventually on the ground ball out by Chericella. So he is staked to a 1-0 lead as he will be taking on Felix Herrera, the shortstop and the leadoff man. Fort Lee coming into this game off a 7-1 defeat on Wednesday on the road at 1. Fort Lee ranking in third place coming into today's action in the Big North American Division. 2-3-1 in divisional play, 5-7-1 overall on the season as Konopka misses low to make it 1-1 the count. 56 degrees and sunny, 20-mile-per-hour winds though here today makes it feel a little cooler. As that hits the outside corner for a strike to now make it a 1-2 advantage here for Konopka, the pitcher for Paramus Catholic. As the wind is going to be wreaking havoc not only on the players, but also potentially on our cameras. So bear with us. The gusting winds you might even hear with some of the microphones as that pitch misses high. Paramus Catholic 4-8 on the season. They are 0-4 in the Big North United Division. That encompasses some of the top teams not only in Bergen County but also in the state. That's a swing and a miss, strike three, and Herrera is fanned to begin the game in the bottom of the first inning. First strikeout of the day for Mike Konopka. One away now with nobody on base in the bottom of the first inning. That brings up Keizio Katayama. Katayama, the pitcher for Fort Lee, standing in from the right side. He swings and misses at that offering. Konopka, the left-hander, trying to give Paramus Catholic their fifth win of the season here this afternoon. They've lost two in a row. As that missed to the outside against Don Bosco Prep. As the Ironmen, one of the top teams in not only New Jersey, but ranked nationally Had points in the nation's top 25 best high school baseball teams for this season. They took it to the Paladins, winning 19-0 and 17-1 in back-to-back games earlier this week. Paramus Catholic looking for their first win since defeating Lodi 11-2 last Saturday. Konopka's pitch is fouled straight back into the cage by Katayama. Now 2 strikes against the Fort Lee pitcher. Kizo Katayama Jr. stepping in here. He'll ground that one down to short. That'll be handled. Konopka has retired the first 2 hitters that he's faced in this game. Damon Lopez making the play at short. Sullivan did a nice job of picking it down at first base himself. That'll bring up Joseph Rosa, the first baseman, hitting third in the Fort Lee lineup here this afternoon. Taking that one high and outside the strike zone for a ball. That one is jettisoned foul into the top of the cage. So Konopka is just throwing strikes here right now and trying to get through this inning unscathed and unscored upon. Here's the pitch. Missing low and inside this time. We've seen Rosa this year play a couple of different positions. He's manning first base here today. He's also played the hot corner down at third and has also been featured as a pitcher on some of our broadcasts. Rosa will fly that one to the right field side. That could be trouble as that will fall foul to the outside of the foul line. Second baseman Duarte was trying to give it a look and see if he could range over in time to make the play, but it fell just away from him as that was a sky-high pop-up. So Konopka will do it again. Here's the lefty's pitch. Rosa once again just a little late. Fouled that one backwards. That time, it's going to be a hot shot, moving back, trying to range underneath it, but dropping the ball. Paramus Catholic not able to secure it cleanly. That was Matt Nyland, the left fielder. It was trying to range over as the wind was wreaking havoc, kept on pulling it around. So Fort Lee will get a runner on base here, aided by the fielding error. E7 the play as, again, Nyland just could not hold on to it. It just kept on carrying, so Rosa will head down in scoring position as the potential tying run. That brings up Franco Rosario with an RBI opportunity here in the bottom of the second inning for Rosario, the junior, back into the second base bag in time to avoid getting picked off. Paramus Catholic's defense, as we just saw, Nyland in left, as that one is fouled back by Rosario. Nyland in left, Ortiz in center, Charicella in right. Enriquez at third, Lopez at short, Duarte at second, Sullivan at first, and Lombardo doing the catching for Konopka. The wind is certainly gusting here. Both pitchers would really be wise to try to keep it a ground ball type game, as we just saw what happened after that ball was hit. And that'll do it for the end of the bottom of the first inning. So Fort Lee strands a runner down at second after the fielding error in left field. It remains a 1-0 lead for Paramus Catholic as we head to the top of the second. You're watching Fort Lee Bridgman Baseball. leading 1-0 as Anthony Radice will lead things off here. Radice will lead things off here for Paramus Catholic in inning number 2. The Paladins struck for eventually a ground ball that nearly was turned into a double play off the bat of Ryan Chericella. Led to the first run of the game scoring. Here's a chop shot down to Herrera at short. He'll handle it, throw over in time for the first out. And just like the beginning of the game in the first inning, it's a 6-3 ground ball out to short. That'll bring up Luca Lombardo. Lombardo with a healthy cut. He swings and misses through it. Now 0-1 the count. Here, the last couple of days, they've even had to barricade some of the fences that are lining the back of the outfield with sandbags just to make sure that they don't fall over. It is that windy despite having those metal gates. Katayama. And now there's 2 outs with nobody on base here for the Paladins, batting at the top of the second inning, trying to extend their 1-0 lead. That'll bring up Heat. Katayama dealing here in the second. The 0-1. What a slow curve there. That dropped in the bucket. And now Katayama quickly ahead of the count, 0-2, trying to put together a 1-2-3 inning. So Katayama retires Paramus Catholic in order, including back-to-back strikeouts to end the top of the second inning. To the bottom of the second inning we go here at the Dr. Allen W. Sugarman Sports Complex in beautiful Fort Lee, New Jersey. A crossover matchup in the Big North. United versus American teams going on here today. Rainier Azeri will ground that one deep into the hole. Outstanding play deep in the hole by Damon Lopez. He had to field that with one pitch to begin the bottom of the second inning on the 6-3 putout. Brings up Brandon Brito. Brito is the third baseman. Getting his first plate appearance of the afternoon. He's the number 6 hit off of the pitch from Konopka. Konopka struck out 2 in that bottom of the first inning, but Joseph Rosa did connect on as Konopka drops in the strike. That Fort Lee 3-2 here at home this season, and there's a strike and a strikeout. And a swing and a miss by Brito, who's trying to chase the outside inning for Fort Lee. Nakajima will ground that one down to Duarte at second base. He'll throw over in time for the ground ball out. And both pitchers dominant there in the second inning. They face the minimum as we head to the top of the third inning. It's Paramus. Was dominant in that second inning. Retired the three batters he faced in order, including striking out the last two. As hitting ninth in the Paladin lineup here this afternoon. So his first plate appearance here against Katayama. That curveball broke just behind the catcher and the home plate umpire. That's going to be on Monday, respectively. It's going to be a base hit straight up the middle into center field. Paramus Catholic will collect their third hit of the day. And so now we go back to ball with the runner going down to second. That's going to be not in time. And a stolen base for Henriquez. So Henriquez moves into scoring position now with nobody out in the top of the third inning. Paladins aggressively doing some base running here to get down in scoring position. All fell in for a strike this time for Katayama. Katayama also doing the catching sometimes this season when he's not obviously pitching. So Her is the backstop here today. Allowed Henriquez to think about heading down at third base. Konopka waits on deck behind Lopez. Henriquez has stolen second and third base. He's down at third with nobody out here in the top of the third inning. Got such an amazing jump. Katayama was not paying him any mind as that pitch missing high of the mark. Here's a pitch and it misses inside and high for ball four. So runners at the corners with nobody out, and Mike Konopka, who already has registered a double in this game, and he's 1 for 1, stepping up to try to extend his own lead, as he'll be helping out his own cause as the pitcher here this afternoon for Paramus. Here's Konopka hitting from the left side. The throw over, not in time, as they try to keep Lopez close to the first base bag. Again, Henriquez, the ninth place hitter, led off this inning with a single to center. He then went on to steal second and third base. Lopez. Now the runner is breaking from third, heading home. The throw to home, not in time and safe. And on top of it, Lopez will go into second base safely. So he eventually does steal the base. It was a fake to third and look back to first. And when they caught him in a pickle, Fort Lee then was victimized by Henriquez. He was stealing everything on that time on base. He comes in to score, breaking from third. And it's a 2-0 lead now for Paramus Catholic here with nobody out still in the top of the third inning. As that's fouled back. Up the base running of Paramus Catholic once PC has gotten runners on base here today. Henriquez bedeviled them here to start off this third inning and broke home after they looked to get Lopez hung up. Now Lopez is running down to third, and that throw gets by the third baseman. Lopez was taking a wide turn, but it didn't get that far into left field. But another stolen base for Paramus Catholic as they just continue to go from base to base against Katayama and against his infield defense. That time at third with nobody out. And Katayama is struggling to throw strikes, something that he did not struggle with in the last inning. Got ahead of counts against hitters, eventually finished off back-to-back hitters with strikeouts, also induced Radice into a ground ball out at short. Fouled back again by Konopka. So Paramus Catholic scoring once in the first inning and now once more here in the top of the third. They've taken a 2-0 lead over Fort Lee. As that's fouled off to the right side, Konopka with a good at-bat here. As I mentioned in one of the previous broadcasts done here on YouTube, as we're always honored to bring you the sights and sounds from the Fort Lee Bridgman home games, it's been a definitely contrast of styles this season for the Bridgmen, as Konopka will line that into center field for an RBI single. That'll drive home Lopez with the third run of the game, second of the inning, and now Mike Konopka is 2 for 2 with an RBI. After getting a single here in the third, still nobody out. Styles, it's been feast or famine for Fort Lee this year. In their wins, they've scored 8 or more runs in all 5 of those wins. In their losses, in 6 of the 7, Fort Lee has not managed to score more than 4 runs. And once again, as that pitch was delivered, Paramus Catholic taking the extra base. Another stolen base. Enough job of keeping the runners close and paying a little more attention to them with either pickoff moves or even just challenging with throwing out a couple of these runners. BC is putting the pressure early and often here on the defense. And before him, Henriquez just taking second and third quite easily. On the sacrifice fly by Brian Duarte, and Paramus Catholic now extends their lead even further. They've scored 3 runs here in the top of the third and now lead 4-0. So a productive out, the first out of the inning secured by Keizo Katayama. Brian Duarte, the second baseman, with a sinking pitch thrown in to Ryan Chericella. Chericella had the ground ball, just beat it out down the line that drove in the first run of the game back in the first on the fielder's choice. It was a good job of beating out that play. If not, that would have ended the inning and Fort Lee would have gotten out of it without surrendering a run. It's going to be a mile-high pop-up. The wind again wreaking havoc a bit, but Greenberg settled underneath it for the pop-out. And now there's 2 outs here in the top of the third. That'll bring up Jordan Ortiz. As now we're going to have a conference on. And it looks like it will be a pitching change made by Fort Lee. So Katayama was not able to pitch out of the third inning. He's given up 3 runs in the inning, 4 in the game. New pitcher coming in for the Bridgmen. As you're watching Bridgman baseball taking on Paramus Catholic here this late April after. So a new pitcher into the game now for Peter Kraujic. It's going to be number 2, Emmanuel Perez, the junior, who comes in this game for Keizo Katayama. Out 2. As Fort Lee is going to be leaning on Perez to try to get them through the inning and secure that third and final out. 4-0 lead for Paramus Catholic. They've scored once in the first, 3 more here in the top of the third. been for the sixth time here in 2022, and Perez will miss wide of the mark as he'll take on Jordan Ortiz, the center fielder. Ortiz is 0 for 1 with a ground out to third back in the first inning. That ended the inning. And the right-hander delivers. That one's going to be fouled into the top portion of the cage. Paramus Catholic has won all their games out of divisional play so far this season, as that's going to be a towering fly ball. Ranging over is Lee, the center fielder, to make the final putout of this third inning. So Ortiz flies out to his center field counterpart in Marcus Lee, but the damage is done, and a lot of it stolen bases in that inning alone. And that will give them now a 4-run lead as we head to the bottom of the third inning here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Stick around as we'll have Fort Lee coming back to bat here in the bottom of the third. Bottom of the third inning as Fort Lee in search of their first runs of the ball game. They'll bring up to plate for his first plate appearance, number 6, Max Greenberg, the second baseman. Been dealing in the first 2 innings, has not allowed a hit. Has struck out 3. First pitch, a curveball from the left-hander. It was helped his own cause out with a pair of hits in this game. He's 2 for 2. Get a nice, comfortable afternoon, 56 degrees. We all wish it could be a little warmer here as we're approaching the start of May, but you might be able to hear it again in our camera microphone as well as just everything around here to see the American flags in the distance just gust. That's going to be taken inside. As I was mentioning in the top portion of the inning, Paramus Catholic has won all their games outside of their division. A swing and a miss, that time by Fort Lee. As it'll be another strikeout, this time against Max Greenberg. Fourth strikeout of the game for Mike Konopka, and the leadoff man is retired to begin the bottom of the third inning. Brings up the 9th place hitter, the center fielder, Marcus Lee. Paramus Catholic with wins against Dwight Englewood and Kennedy to start the year. So they began the year 2-0 and then ran into trouble. They've also picked up wins against Saddlebrook and Lodi. A ground ball chopped down to Duarte at second, has to hurry with Lee busting down the line, but a good play there by the second baseman. Another 4-3 putout. And Konopka has retired the first 2 he's faced to begin the third inning. And dating back to that fielding error by his left fielder on the fly ball hit by Rosa, he has now retired 6 straight Fort Lee players in this game. Back to Felix Herrera, the top of the order. Herrera was a strikeout victim back in the first inning, as that pitch by Konopka missing high and wide. Favor of Felix Herrera. Herrera with a hot shot down to short. That's bobbled a bit by Lopez, and Herrera with his speed will leg that one out. The throw got away from Sullivan anyway, but On a hot shot to short that time, if Lopez fielded it cleanly, he might have had a bang-bang play. But with Herrera's speed getting down that first base line, he was going to leg it out. So Herrera is a two-out base runner here, finally breaking up a string of 6 consecutive outs recorded by time. Obviously, I'm not the official scorer, but I would say that should be a single, an infield hit for Herrera. That would be generous home field scoring. If so, that would be the first hit of the game given up by Konopka. It's going to be a tough play again in the hole for Lopez to make, but he's already shown he has that range on a nice defensive play he made earlier. As now the new hitter into the game, obviously, is the new pitcher, Emmanuel Perez, as Katayama was hitting initially in that 2-hole. Perez hustled his way down the first base line. That was a very tough play for Duarte. He had to field that almost close to the line down the first base side. Got to it, and then once again a bang-bang play, and the foot race won by Perez on the infield single. So back-to-back hits now for Fort Lee. They have runners at first and second with 2 outs, and Joseph Rosa wide. It's now 1-0. Rosa hit a towering fly ball to left that kept on curling with the wind, and Nylands dropped it out of his glove. Rosa ended up at second. He was something brewing here for Fort Lee in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Konopka's pitch. Missing low to the outside, and now he's in danger of. So a 3-0 count with 2 outs, runners at first and second. Konopka guides that one in for a strike to make it Phil be swinging here on the 3-1. Taken outside for ball 4, and now the bases are loaded, and the potential tying run will come to home plate in the form of Franco Rosario. Visit made by Paramus Catholic, as they want to talk things over with their pitcher, as Konopka has lost his form of late. He retired the first 2 hitters quickly that he faced. He had retired 6 in a row at that point after generating a strikeout against Greenberg and a ground ball out to second against Markle to the second baseman, Duarte, and then Rosa now drawing the walk. Runners at first, second, and third with 2 outs here in the inning. Thinking that he'll fly that one deep, ranging over to make the play from center field with a cap coming off his head was Ortiz. So Rosario saw the first pitch. He liked it, made big contacts, but flew out to center field to end the scoring threat. So Fort Lee will strand 3 runners on watching Fort Lee baseball here on YouTube. Top of the fourth inning. It remains a 4-0 lead for Paramus Catholic, as the Paladins staking themselves out to this advantage after scoring in the opening inning and then putting up a 3-spot in the last inning. That knocked Katayama out of the game, as Emmanuel Perez will begin another inning out of the relief. And in relief here for Fort Lee. That one's taken low. Anthony Radice, the designated hitter, 0 for 1. He grounded out to short to start off the second inning. Second time today, he's leading off an inning. Takes that one high and off the plate from Emmanuel Perez. And now missing again outside against Radice. Radice, Lombardo, and Sullivan, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters due up in this inning. And that's going to be missing outside, and Perez walks the leadoff hitter to begin the top of the fourth inning. So Radice will take his base down at first base, and that'll bring up Luca Lombardo, the catcher. Lombardo was a strikeout victim back in the second inning. He's 0 for 1 this afternoon. As Perez has run wild here at the start of this fourth inning. I have to say, have to love, now they've been growing on me. I love the gold uniforms for. We'll see what they'll say if it will down at second base. As Lombardo hit into that ground ball. Just not hard enough for Herrera to get it to Greenberg in time to quickly turn to. Sullivan, hit and run going on. Herrera has to back up, throws over, drags his first baseman off the bag, but they administer the tag on the play. So Rosa had to come off the bag for Paramus Catholic. Brings up Dalen Henriquez, the ninth place hitter. He had a single and then ran wild once on base. He in between first and second, Henriquez took the opportunity to run down from third, and he got hit by a pitch there. So here we go with Damon Lopez. So Henriquez on base for the second consecutive time in this ball game. Brings up Lopez. Lopez grounded out to short. Also drew a walk in this game. He's 0 for 1. Perez floats that curveball outside the zone. 1-0. Radice led off the inning with a walk. He was a pinch runner. Or moved Lombardo, I should say. He's running for himself. A lot of times you see a catcher get on base, they'll have a courtesy runner come on for him. That moved Lombardo down to second, and then Dalen Henriquez was just hit by a pitch. So runners at first and so it looked like time was called. Haven't seen any stolen base attempts here by Paramus Catholic in this inning after they ran wild in the last inning. Getting it back in play, though, by Rosario. That will not allow Paramus Catholic to think about scoring the runner from second. Has now reached base safely in his last two plate appearances with a walk and now a single. 5 hits this afternoon for Paramus Catholic. Here's Konopka hitting from the left side. Doubled to left center field in the first and had a RBI single his last time up in the third. Mailed out of the facility. And that'll score another run for Paramus Catholic and allow the runners to enter down to third and second, respectively. Too much to handle there. He threw it all the way outside the stadium, beyond the cage, as he was trying to throw it down to home. Paramus Catholic was also not throwing error. So 2 more runs here in the game now for Paramus Catholic, as they stretch their lead to 6-0. He's stepping in here. Duarte fouling that one into the top of the cage. Again, the inning started with a Radice walk right, Konopka single to right, and then the throwing error by Rosario also brought on another run. Curveball by Perez hits in for a strike. As Perez trying to go the opposite way and trying to float that one in, it goes foul down the right field line to the benefit of Fort Lee. The wind is swirling from left to right here at this field, so you could see how that ball started. Paladins here, still batting in the top of the fourth inning. Second walk of the inning surrendered by stepping in. Ball gets away from the catcher, Herr, sliding into home safely. What an aggressive base running play. Home plate slid in safely, and they've now scored their third run of the inning, and the runners move down to second and third respectively. So a wild pitch leads to another run. The third off the glove of Brito. That will score one more for Paramus Catholic. He did the full extension trying to jump out in front of it, but he could not get it cleanly. That's going to be an infield single and an RBI by Chericella. 8-0 with runners at the corners, and still it remains 2 outs in the inning. That'll bring the ninth hitter up to bat here in the top of the fourth inning, and Jordan Ortiz. And there's another stolen base, this time by Chericella. He'll go into second base without a throw, and we've seen that a couple of times already. As that will fall in for a strike. So Kevin against the Paladins, who have struck for a 4 spot here in the top of the fourth. 0 for 2 this afternoon, grounded out to third, also flew out to center field. Hustle in that last play by Brito, he just could not get it cleanly. If he made that clean play, might have had an opportunity to get out of the inning. That one was sawed off, allows Perez himself to get to the ball, and underhand toss it over to his first. Here against the two pitchers, Fort Lee. They'll take an 8-0 advantage with them into the bottom of the fourth inning here at the Sugarman Sports Complex. Bottom of the fourth inning now. Fort Lee with work to do. They trail 8-0. Paramus Catholic, after taking a 1-0 lead, were shut out in the second inning, but their bats have come alive. 3 runs in the third, 4 more in the fourth. And Mike Konopka has been dealing here today. Konopka has allowed only 2 hits. That came in the last inning as he takes on Ryan Irizarry. Irizarry is retired for the second time this afternoon, 1 away. Konopka, no runs allowed, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, has walked only 1. He'll take on the third baseman now, Brandon Brito. Brito struck out in his lone play in the second inning. Fouled backwards, and now quickly it's 0-2 the count. High pitch for a ball, it's 1-2. They took on Don Bosco and Ramsey on Wednesday, playing here today against Fort Lee. They'll be back in action on Saturday at Bergenfield before then traveling on Monday to Wayne and taking on DePaul Catholic. That time a line drop. Irizarry tried to line it to right field his last time up, but it just had a little too much air underneath it. That allowed Chericello to make the play. Burrito deposited that one just in front of it, taken low to the outside by Louis Nakajima. Nakajima is 0 for 1 today, having grounded out to second base in the second inning. Again, the lefty-lefty matchup. The throw over to first, not in time, and Paramus Catholic lucky that Burrito did not elect to get up and try to venture down to second base on that pickoff attempt. Not the best in the world by Konopka. He's fortunate as that got away briefly from his first baseman, Sullivan. Nakajima, the left fielder. Nakajima taking all the way as Konopka is starting to struggle a little bit in finding his location again. 7-17 overall. They wound up losing to St. Peter's Prep 3-0 in the first round of the North Non-Public A State Tournament. As first and second with one out here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Second walk of the game given up by Konopka. That brings up Max Greenberg. Second baseman 0 for 1 with a strikeout in this game. Takes that one for a strike. 0-1. Greenberg hitting 8th in the lineup this afternoon. And getting the start at second base. Struck out back in the third inning. There's another strike for Konopka, who's trying to settle things down after allowing the one-out hit to Burrito and then just walking Nakajima. And there's a swing and a miss and a strikeout again. Greenberg is retired via the K for the second time in this game. That is the fifth strikeout. Lee grounded out to second base, but sprinted, made it a close play before. Flares that one, an over-the-shoulder catch made by the fellow RBI with a runner going. So that'll end the fourth inning for Fort Lee. They strand two runners on. So Paramus Catholic head coach Paul McGreeny has to be pretty happy at how his offloading here for 8 runs here this afternoon on the road. In a windy afternoon in Fort Lee, New Jersey, Dan Long, Dimitri are moving closer and closer to the start of May baseball. Even though the weather's still feeling like it's another inning going to be led off here by Anthony Radice. The DH has 3 times in. Radice led off the second and grounded out to short. Led off the fourth and drew a walk that fourth inning. So Perez generates the strikeout. His first strikeout since coming into this game, and now the leadoff man is retired to begin the top of the fifth inning. Third strikeout for hit into a fielder's choice his last time up. Eventually would come around to score later on in the inning. Perez. Paramus Catholic 2-4 on the road this season. As that one goes to the backstop. To host the Spartans in Paramus next Wednesday, May 4th. As Lombardo will take his base, He'll be a one-out base runner here in the top of the fifth. That brings up Bernard Sullivan Jr. 0 for 2 as he flies that one to right field. Rosario. So Sullivan will fly out to right field. And now there's 2 outs in the inning with the runner still down at first. So the fly out by Sullivan to right field following that walk drawn by Lombardo brings up Dalen Henriquez. Henriquez has singled and hit by a pitch. He's come around to score each time. That wild pitch getting away from the catcher Hurd. That'll allow the other catcher Lombardo to get into scoring position now. As that will finish off the inning, so Paramus Catholic does not come around to the bottom of the 5th inning. It remains an 8-0 advantage for the visiting Paladins. Bottom of the 5th inning now for Fort Lee. They put up a 0 in the top portion of this inning. As Felix Herrera will lead things off. Shortstop struck out in the 1st inning, had a single his last time up in the 3rd, as he hit it deep in the hole to short, and Lopez bobbled it briefly, and Herrera was able to leg out the infield single. Herrera trying to start a rally here in the bottom of the 5th inning against Konopka. Mike Konopka, the left-hander, has been solid on the mound this afternoon for Paramus Catholic. Herrera will pop this one up. Duarte getting twisted and turned all which way, but still has managed to recover for the putout on the pop-up. Nice play there. Again, he initially broke back almost closer to the second base side, and then as it just kept on tailing away out of the bottom of the 5th. Reach of Duarte, and he legged it out at first. He'll foul that one off right in front of the catcher. Lombardo will throw down to first, and that will retire Perez for the second out of his position. Threw down in time, and now there's 2 away with nobody on base here in the home portion of the bottom of the 5th inning. That'll bring Rosa reached on the fielding error by the left fielder in the 1st inning and then drew a walk his last time up in the 3rd. Fourth hit of the day for Fort Lee. They have a 2-out base runner here in the bottom of the 5th inning as Rosa getting on base for the 3rd straight time in this game. That brings up Franco Rosario. Rosario 0 for 2 this afternoon, struck out in the first, flew out to center field his last time up in the third inning. As Konopka trying to get through 5 innings. So Konopka now has given up 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks in this game, 5 strikeouts. White, that pitch getting wide of the mark. Rosa will head down to second base and advance on the wild pitch. Second time in this game that Rosa is going to be standing down in scoring position. He was stranded there, backs again. Will strand runners on base without allowing anyone to touch home plate. We're through 5 innings of play. Paramus Catholic on top of Fort Lee, 8-0. We go now to the top of the 6th inning. Paramus Catholic in control here. As here, he came into this game with 2 outs in the 3rd inning after Keizo Katayama. Lopez began this game seeing the first pitch of the game and grounding it out to short. Since then, he's drawn a walk in the 3rd and singled in the 4th inning. Weakly hit ball back to the pitcher, put out. That'll bring up Mike Konopka. Konopka has been the ultimate star in this game. Konopka will foul that into the top of the cage. The top 4 hitters in this Paladin lineup today have been the power producers. They produced 6 of the team's first inning, an RBI single in the 3rd, and an RBI single his last time up in the 4th. Taking that one off the plate to the far side. Konopka will see that one hit the outside corner, so Perez getting the strike against him. Konopka will try to pull that one down the first base line. The wind that has been gusting at a rate of close to 20 miles an hour all day. We've had ferocious winds in this area the last couple of days. As that time, a little chin music on a breaking pitch that did not break. Went high of the mark and sent Konopka ducking for cover. He'll ground that one down to second base. Nice handle by Greenberg over in time. And for the first time this afternoon, Konopka is retired. And credit the first base umpire for holding on to Konopka and not making sure that was going to collision, that was going to knock down both guys. Nice fielding effort there by Greenberg on the ground ball. And Perez now with a chance here to get out of the inning. A pop-up, Rosario ranging over and skying high to make the putout. And a little flair to that play as well. Every time that a couple of these Fort Lee players have been going to make plays, I think they're wearing a size too large with their baseball hats. It makes it look even more dramatic as the caps fall off their heads as they go to make the play, as Rosario just did. So Duarte flies out, and Paramus Catholic is retired in order by Emmanuel Perez, 1-2-3, as we Ryan Irizarry will begin things here for Fort Lee in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Bridgemen being only score less than 4 runs a game. In their wins, they average over 8 runs a contest. And today they've been held in check by the man on the mound, Mike Konopka, the left-hander, who bounced that one in the dirt. It's now 1-0 against Irizarry. Now missing to the outside, 2-0. Irizarry, the DH here this afternoon. Couple of outs, grounded out to short. Konopka has now missed on his first 3 offerings to Irizarry to begin this bottom of the 6th inning. As he misses on 4th walk of the game given up by Konopka. As they'll have a meeting at the mound again to try to go over, I believe it looks like mechanics of how he can finish and try to finish off this game. Still the 6th inning. They play 7 here in high school baseball. And with pitch limits and pitch counts, you have to wonder how much more Konopka has in this game. He's now taking on Brandon Brito. Brito, the third baseman, has one of the 4 hits that Konopka has surrendered here today. He singled his last time up in the 4th. Konopka trying to go over to that right side again where he got his base hit before, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Diving play was trying to be made by the right fielder, and it just fell to right field. And now the first 2 hitters have gotten on safely for Fort Lee to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. Brito with his 2nd hit of the game, 5th for Fort Lee, will bring up Louis Nakajima. Nakajima will take that. That one missing high and wide. As Lombardo will get it back quickly to his pitcher. Trying to get into his groove again. He's working on a shutout right now against Fort Lee, but that is in danger here. As Konopka missing again on another offering. Fort Lee trying to start a rally here down to their final 6 outs of the game. Nakajima with a healthy cut, but swinging and missing on the low pitch. Now 2 strikes against Nakajima. Irizarry down at 2nd. Brito behind. Konopka showing a little wear and tear here late in the ball game, and that's ball 4. So for the 2nd time in this game, Nakajima draws the walk. That's now 2 walks given up by Konopka here in the 6th inning. 4 in the game, and now the bases are loaded with nobody. So a pinch hitter into the game now. Batting for Max Greenberg is going to be Ray Nakajima. And he swings through it, 0-1. So the sophomore getting called up here with an opportunity to try to deliver the first runs of the game for Fort Lee. That pitch is forcing Nakajima to duck out of the way and duck for cover. So Louis Nakajima just drew a walk, and his brother Ray now stepping in to pitch with the bases loaded. He misses high there. Now some activity going on in the Paramus Catholic bullpen down the right field line. Swing and a miss on the curveball. Two strikes now against Ray Nakajima. Marcus Lee, the 9th place hitter, and that's going to be ball 4. So the first run is going to be walked home on a bases loaded walk given to Ray Nakajima. He gets credited with the RBI without even having to swing the bat. 3 walks given up in the inning by here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Fort Lee produces their first run of the game on the bases-loaded walk. Again, there's a reliever that's getting warmed up down the right field line in the bullpen. So Konopka still has to get his way to at least 1 out here in the inning. He has walked Irizarry, given up a single and a bloop single to right field by Brandon Brito. Walked Louis Nakajima, then walked Ray Nakajima. And now the center fielder hitting 9th in the Fort Lee lineup. Top of the lineup due up next on deck in the form of Felix Herrera. There's a ground ball base hit to right field. That's going to score 1, rounding third, coming home to score another. It's going to be a 2-run RBI single there by Marcus Lee. And 3 runs produced here in the bottom of the 6th inning for Fort Lee at the Bridgman Believing. A 2-run single by Marcus Lee drives in a couple of runners sitting. He walked in a run with the bases loaded, and then with the bases loaded, Marcus Lee delivered a 2-run single. That'll draw Fort Lee back to within 5. It's 8-3 as we head to the pitching change here in the bottom of the 6th inning. New pitcher into the game for Paramus Catholic is going to be the freshman. Number of the first 5 innings. Just ran out of gas in the 6th. Did not record an out. Walked 3. Gave up 2 hits in this 6th inning. He walked in a run. That was the first run of the day on a 2-run single. And it's now a 5-run lead for Paramus Catholic at 8-3. Corners. With still nobody out in the inning. Dan Long, Dimitri Nanis, Maria Giannatasio. Thank you so much for watching our broadcast coverage of Fort Lee and Paramus Catholic baseball action here and 2 here at the Sugarman Sports Complex this season. Today's game begins a stretch of 7 home games in their next 8 overall games for Fort Lee. So they're trying to take advantage of the home field advantage. Last season, Fort Lee went 5-15 overall. First ball swinging and base hit into left field. That's going to score another. Lee will head down to third after the RBI single by Felix Herrera. And Fort Lee has now put first 5 innings. The Bridgman Bats have come alive here in the bottom of the 6th. Allegri is met right away, and the first pitch he delivered by Herrera. A single by Felix, his second hit of the day. He's now 2 for 9, and Allegria falls down, trying to field it. It's going to be an infield single as Fort Lee freshman pitcher kind of fell off as he was trying to come off the mound to try to field it down that first baseline. So an RBI for Perez, and now Rosa comes to the plate as the potential tying run. What a turn of events. It was an 8-0 lead for Paramus Catholic heading here into the bottom of the 6th. The count now 0-1. Rosa, he was thinking about going yard there. He fouled it into the top of the cage. Rosa had a base hit his last time up in the 5th. He has reached base safely all 3 times today on an error in the 1st, a walk in the 3rd, and a catcher on the wild pitch. Lombardo's throw not in time, and the runners now move down into scoring position. 2nd and 3rd with nobody out here for Fort Lee. Ulrich missing high and behind Rosa. So Allegria has come in and has looked a little shaky here. He misses low to the outside as Rosa doing a good job of laying off those pitches, not chasing. Fort Lee has put up 5 runs on 4 hits, and 3 walks in the inning. Now time is called as Allegria was already Nakajima drew a walk. Ray Nakajima drew a walk with the bases loaded. A 2-run single by Marcus Lee. Felix Herrera and Emmanuel Perez with RBI singles as well. And now a swing and a miss and a strikeout of Rosa is the first out of the inning procured by Paramus Catholic. A big out there. Now we'll bring up Franco Rosario. Rosario struck out twice in the game against Konopka. Also flew out to center field. He sends that one deep to left field. Underneath it, Nyland will make the putout. Second out of the... So a sacrifice fly by Rosario has now made this a 2-run ball game here in the bottom of the 6th. It was a high pop-up and deep enough that when Nyland got it, he was going to have no chance of trying to throw out the runner, scoring there from third base. So that brings up Ryan Irizarry for the second plate appearance of this inning. He hits 7 runs in the inning, a 7 spot here for Fort Lee in the bottom of the game magic. He reached on a walk to beginning this bottom of the 6th inning, and now an RBI single, and that'll bring up... This game seemed to be long gone for Fort Lee when they entered into the bottom of the 6th inning, trailing 8-0 game. They knocked Mike Konopka out of the game, and they've gotten to Matt Allegria here, the freshman, a couple times in relief. The runner down at first base. Four hits in the inning for Fort Lee. Here's a pop-up. That's going to be called for by Lopez at short for the third. A brand new baseball game as we head to the top of the 7th. Paramus Catholic still on top, but now by a lone run at 8-7. Ball game now in this one. After Fort Lee puts up 7 runs in the bottom of this and keep this only a 1-run deficit heading into the bottom of the 7th inning. What an exciting ball game. It was all Paramus Catholic early. They put up 3 runs in the inning, could not record an out, and Fort Lee just kept on hammering Paramus Catholic pitching. 3 walks and 7 total runs. Ryan Cherichello, the right fielder, leading things off for the Paladins. He'll be induced into the pop-up to right field. Routes in foul territory by Rosario, showing off the speed there. And once again, losing the cap in the process. Chera is retired to start off the inning. That'll bring up Brito. That'll roll into foul territory. He'll make the turn from first down, sliding in safely into second. And he was hugging down that left field line. Now Ortiz will get a much-needed hit. The first hit only by 1 here in the top of the 7th. Anthony Radice, the DH. Perez, nice curveball there, foul-tipped for a strike. And that's just going to be foul this time. Brito again right on the line there, was trying to hopefully make a play. Brito, who is the hero of the first game of the season here at the Sugarman Sports Complex, so literally and figuratively, if they come all the way back to produce the win against Paramus Catholic after trailing 8-0. One out of the inning with a runner down at second base. On deck. Eight hits on the game now for Paramus Catholic. As Emmanuel Perez is trying to strand that runner down in scoring position now with 2 outs in the inning. Only the 4th strikeout for Fort Lee pitching this afternoon. Both Katayama and Perez with a pair of punch-out. A strike called to the inside. Jordan Ortiz, the center field. Running, that one is skipped in the dirt. Herr has to go back to retrieve it, so there was going to be no chance whatsoever against Fort Lee. But not of concern right now to Emmanuel Perez. He has to get that outside. Here, in the top of the 7th inning, a 2-out single drives in another run for Paramus Catholic. The Paladins have given. That'll bring up Sullivan, the first baseman, and the pickoff off of first after delivering that clutch RBI single with 2 outs. They now will lead by 2 heading to the final at-bats of regulation here for Fort Lee. So again, it's up to the freshman Matt Allegria to try to close the door here before Fort Lee exploded for 7 runs in the last inning. That pulled them to within 1 at 8-7, trying to secure the final 3 outs of this game and head back home to come back. He takes a strike from Allegria, 0-1. Says the only primary left-hand bat in his Fort Lee lineup. He was shut out through the first 5 innings of action in this game. Left a couple. Allegria trying to retire the leadoff. Get on base. That would bring the potential tying run to home. Wasting one, just setting it from the freshman. What a battle, and that's eventually won by the freshman. So Max Greenberg back in. He is re-entered. Takes that one high. Greenberg 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts in this game. Again, Fort Lee needs to get at least 1 runner on. Will he recover in time? He still had the presence of mind to recover, set and fire a throw accurately. Marcus Lee, who singled home 2 runs in his last plate appearance in the 6th inning. Comes in and pitches a 1-2-3 bottom of the 7th inning. They pull to within 1, but eventually fall by a final. He will fall to 5-8-1 on the Cliffside Park in the next game after that on Monday, May 2nd. On Saturday at Bergenfield. Before up a little short here in beautiful